Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am not here with Geeky Sparkles. We're kind of dividing and conquering today. We have a lot of different things going on, but she was on this morning talking about the Netflix acquisition of Warner Brothers, which kind of came out of left field, to be honest. And I really, truly thought that Paramount was going to walk away with it. And apparently there was some backroom dealings or something with Netflix, but now that it has come out that it looks like, Netflix is going to walk away with Warner Brothers, we're going to talk about what the fallout from that could be in regards to DC Comics and Cartoon Network specifically, because we have talked about them at length on this channel for a number of years, and I think it's going to change things. I don't think it's going to change things right away, but every time there's a merger, to make the shareholders and the current employees feel comfortable, they will tell them that things are not going to change. And they do this because they have not decided what they're going to change, but they absolutely positively are going to change things because there are going to be a lot of redundancies, a lot of business sectors that do not make sense. And I'm looking at you, DC Comics, as a publisher. You do not make sense to the Netflix business model. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're also going to talk about Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network will not make much sense because Netflix has their own animation department. They'll probably wind up merging them. I would say Cartoon Network Studios or whatever's left of it. And now we see what the end game was for Zaslav all along. It was basically curbside appeal, sell Warner Brothers to the highest bidder, get out, get your many millions of dollars for that, rinse and repeat. And I think this is going to be a massive blow to Hollywood. The Hollywood system, as we've known it, is going to effectively be dead. I mean, Disney was already kind of a tech company now with Hulu and Disney Plus. But now we've got Warner Brothers going to Netflix. Whereas with HBO Max, it was a streaming service they had, but they still cared a lot about theatrical and, producing TV shows and all of that. And I don't know. That might just go out the window with Netflix. Again, they say that they're going to keep the status quo for now. I don't think that's going to be viable long term. What is going to happen is we're going to see a lot fewer productions, I believe. Again, they're trying to say, oh, no, guys, this is going to be great. There's going to be all kinds of... No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be that they look for the hits. They strip mine Warner Brothers for the IP that they want, and then they get rid of the rest of it. They shut it down, sell it off, whatever. I don't even think they'll sell it off. Write down maybe. But Netflix has so much damn money that they literally could just, cherry pick a couple of things from Warner Brothers library, barely an inconvenience for them, run with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have the infinite money cheat code turned on currently. Now, that's not always going to be the case, I don't think. Remember, AOL at one point in time also owned Warner Brothers, and they also had the infinite money cheat code turned on. So things, tend to cycle. But for now, Netflix is a massive, massive player in entertainment, and money's not really a concern for them. I think it would be easier for them to just squat on IP for years than to do something with it if they think it was going to get a return on the investment. So we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Go out to more.clownfishtv.com for more Clownfish TV podcasts and other stuff. We're going to be ramping up our content over there going into 2026. More shows, different kinds of shows than what we talk about here on YouTube. So I guess first we're gonna talk about some of the reaction. Elizabeth Warren, she's flipping out because she's like, this is a monopoly. Netflix and Warner Brothers would create a massive media giant with control of close to half of the streaming market. What about Disney? Threatening to force Americans into higher subscription prices. Absolutely. And fewer choices over what and how they watch while putting American workers at risk. Under Trump, the antitrust review process has also become a cesspool of political favoritism and corruption. Didn't she complain too, I think, last time Warner Brothers got sold to AT&T, if I remember correctly. And maybe I'm not remembering this correctly. But I think there would have been more of a conflict of interest had Warner Brothers gone to Paramount because they wanted the whole thing. Apparently Paramount is contacting their Congress people, senators, whatever. They're angry. There's talk that they might actually initiate a hostile takeover with the Saudis. I mean, this is insane. this whole thing. But yeah, it's a big deal. It's kind of like The Floor. I don't know if you guys watch The Floor of the game show. I only half watch it. My family watches it. But Warner Brothers was a huge chunk of The Floor with everything that they own. And Netflix was also a huge chunk of The Floor. And now they're going to have a massive chunk of The Floor, right? So it's basically going to be a Netflix, Disney, Amazon world. And at some point in time, one or two of those companies could merge as well. And there's talk that Disney might sell itself to Apple. And that means that the tech companies basically own all of entertainment, right? But this is Highlander. This was always going to happen. And I have to wonder, in the case of Warner Brothers, if they didn't do this specifically with an eye on someday selling themselves to Netflix, because they had some of the top rated Netflix shows, and they went and they did HBO Max. And I think Friends was theirs. They took that with them. And so that means, I guess, that goes back on Netflix too, along with like all the CW stuff and all the Cartoon Network stuff. But this was inevitable. All these studios decided they were going to start streaming services, and they basically blew themselves up trying to compete with Netflix. Now Netflix is walking away with the biggest studio that's left. But the big concern is for theatrical, again, because they don't really seem to think much of it. And in fact, they said they're going to probably shorten the window of theatrical. But we have them out there saying, hey, this is going to be good for everybody, guys. This is going to be good news for everybody. It's not going to be good news, I don't think. So Rob Liefeld, comic book creator Rob Liefeld, who has an excellent podcast, by the way. You should listen to Robservations. I like to listen to it. It's good stuff. Rob says, anyone telling you that this will affect DC Comics in the near term is misleading you. Everything will stay the course, likely for the next full year. Yes. After the sale is finalized, maybe it gets interesting. Yes. I don't expect any major upheaval yet, but apparently they're already talking about, how they're going to tackle this. There was a letter from David Zaslav talking about the integration team and all of that. They're saying that Netflix wanted to buy Warner Brothers for AI. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff going around. So there's all kinds of speculation, but yeah, it's going to be very, very hard to pivot within the next couple of months, but it's going to be like Paramount and Skydance. They're going to start probably laying people off pretty soon, whoever they can lay off. But this is why they don't want to panic people, because they don't want the people leaving yet. They don't want you to leave the company until they're done with you. I know this firsthand. They will not panic people. They don't want to panic investors. They want to make sure this thing gets pushed through on the regulatory level. And that's a whole nother hurdle. I mean, they have an intention to buy Warner Brothers. Doesn't mean that it's going to go through. So you got to think about that too. I mean, honestly, it probably will, but you never know, right? This guy said, if anything, it might help DC. Have more of their content in one place. Netflix probably understands streaming better than DC does. To them, it's just content. TSA says, with how Netflix now has mobile games available in the Netflix app, it wouldn't be surprised if DC Comics were added to the app, which would be a good thing. They'll see how much money they're losing from making physical comic books and scrap it. Yes. I want to talk about that. DC Comics will have digital comics only. Look how Netflix's CEO is talking about cinemas, saying it's outdated. Yeah, they're trying to say, oh, guys, this is going to be great, but we're gonna reevaluate release windows. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I'm going to tell you right now, Netflix is not in the paper pamphlet business. They're not. As far as I know, most of, if not all of their comics are outsourced to Dark Horse, which is owned by Embracer Group now, because they don't want to deal with it. Netflix themselves is not going to deal with publishing monthly comic books to a dwindling number of comic book shops, right? Let's just stop. If you think they're going to continue business as usual once the ink is dry, that Netflix wants to be in the paper business, you are completely mistaken. Do I think comics will be digital only? No. Do I think they will get outsourced? I absolutely positively believe at some point in time, they will just outsource DC Comics. And, I've been talking about this for, about 10 years now, not just DC Comics, but also Marvel. And if DC falls, if DC gets outsourced to like a Dark Horse or whoever wants to take a chance on those licenses, then Disney's going to follow suit with Marvel because they've tried. They wanted to offload Marvel Comics going way back to 2016, 2017. I had a conversation with somebody at Disney Publishing Worldwide. I used to work on Disney Comics for years. And this person told me that, yeah, they were looking for somebody to basically offload the Marvel superheroes to. And at that point in time, it was IDW was most likely candidate because they already had an existing relationship with them. They had a lot of experience with licensed characters, but they dropped the ball. That's why they're doing those kids comics, the Spider-Man and the Captain Marvel, whatever the hell they're doing. They did, some Star Wars books or whatever, but they royally screwed up. And Disney's like, yeah, we can't trust you. So back to making the comics ourselves, I guess. But the first chance they get to jump off of that, they're going to do it. And I can almost guarantee you at some point in time, maybe within the next couple of years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, they'll take a look at this. Ted Sarandos is going to take a look at this and be like, why are we bankrolling a print publishing operation? Why are we spending the amounts of money that we're spending creating comic books that very few people are reading for a dwindling audience? Not everything is an absolute Batman. A lot of them are absolute shit shows and money sinks, right? So that's what they're going to look at. And they'll be like, you know what? Let's just publish a handful of new titles a month and let Dark Horse do it or something, right? This guy here says, yeah, we don't know the regulatory hurdles. Yeah, I agree with that. So this is Rich Johnston. So I don't know if this was kind of low key in response to this or not, but Rich Johnston is speculating that Mark Millar is going to run DC Comics for Netflix. Do I think he would be a good choice for that? I absolutely positively think he would probably be the best choice for that. Does he want to do it? I don't know. But he's quitting social media. So now Rich Johnston is speculating that means that he's in the running to basically take over DC Comics for Netflix. But if you listen to the official explanation, it does not sound to me like that's what's going on. The thing about Mark, we had him on the show, and I've talked to him off and on over the years, but we had him on. I think he's a straight shooter. I think if he really had interest in doing that, he probably would have said so. Like, hey, cool. Now I can get my meat hooks into DC Comics. I don't know if he cares. And it sounds to me like he's got other things going on. But let's look at Rich Johnston's logic here. As Netflix buys Warner Brothers DC Comics, Mark Millar quits social media. Oh boy, guys. Was this a coincidence? I couldn't say. However, as the news broke that Netflix was acquiring Warner Brothers, including DC Comics, comic book co-creator of Kick-Ass, Wanted, Kingsman, Civil War, Old Man Logan, Mark Millar announced that he was quitting social media. More people should quit social media. I should quit social media. I should. I should just leave. Marvel. Let's see. Bleeding Cool speculated perhaps Netflix staff member Mark, I think he's an executive over there, but okay. Staff member Mark Millar, whose Millar World was acquired by Netflix, might have secured a role in the deal, potentially involving a role for Millar to play running DC Comics. However, it seems that this speculation will not be addressed by Mark Millar, at least not on social media. Coincidence or not, that's for you to decide. He writes, normally people leave social media after a spat or a political disagreement, furious and smarting, but I'm leaving social media loving it more than ever. Why am I going? Honestly, it's just man hours. Yeah, it's a huge time sink. Work has kicked up a notch on the live action side, and we're going into the pre-production in the new year on 2 different projects, a third following shortly after. So I'm just working too many evenings and watching too many brilliant conspiracy podcasts. Good man. I could watch this stuff night and day and love checking in on the Twitter feeds of every fringe crazy in the political or UFO world. But I just need to get my head down and we'll return to this joyous madness as soon as I have time again. My Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook pages will thus remain active. This is more ado than goodbye. He's basically pausing his online life to work on shit in the real world, which more of us need to do. They showed off Psychic Sam, which we talked about. Yeah, I mean, do I think Mark would be a great choice to run DC? Oh, absolutely. And there would be much weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth, and it would be glorious to watch. But I don't know if that is in the cards. I don't think it's in the cards, but who the hell knows? I do believe what is in the cards is DC Comics, as we know it, will likely get shut down. And they will just outsource the comic books, and they'll have some people on the studio side. Whether that's going to be James Gunn or Zack Snyder, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen. Speaking of Dark Horse, I didn't think Netflix was going to walk away with Warner Brothers. I honestly thought it was going to be Paramount. I thought, for sure it was going to be Paramount, and it was pretty much a done deal. And then this explains why they were freaking out, why they had the letter that they said, it's not fair. It's not fair. Netflix bought it. And I think this is going to change things. I don't think it's going to be for the better. I'm going to be honest. I mean, that's not like, what I'm saying is I don't think it's going to lead to more creativity and more choice. I think it's going to lead to fewer choices. Again, when companies, megacorps, buy other megacorps, they strip mine them, they take what they want, and then they usually get rid of the rest. And that, could be mothballing it, could be selling it, could just be, forgetting about it, and they'll squat on IP for decades. When it comes to, DC Comics and Cartoon Network especially, I think things are going to change. And I don't think that a lot of cartoon stands fully realize like how the industry might shrink even more. And we've been talking about this, and it's been pissing people off. And I'm sorry it's pissing you off. I really am. But the truth is that the Western animation industry has been shrinking for the last couple of years now. Netflix, even, they had a whole campus. They were going to go all in on animation, and then they walked it back because they realized they could get as much bang for their buck, if not more, by outsourcing animation or doing co-productions with people who have already proven themselves to be successful, or just importing anime. So they don't really have any aspirations to be the next Disney or Warner Brothers or anything, but they'll gladly throw all the Looney Tunes stuff. They'll throw all the Looney Tunes stuff on Netflix because watch time, right? And they keep saying that it's not going to change things that much. Again, it won't right away, but I mean, you would have to be a damn fool to think that things were going to continue as usual, especially with Cartoon Network. I mean, they've been shutting Cartoon Network down by degrees for years. And, they left their studio. They've been, shutting down productions, canceling projects, laying people off. Cartoon Network is basically just a brand at this point. It's like a brand of Warner Brothers Animation, just like Hanna-Barbera was a brand. It hasn't actually been Hanna-Barbera, the Hanna-Barbera company that we knew in the 60s, 70s, 80s. It hadn't been that company for a very long time. So it's the same thing's going to happen here. They might, throw a Cartoon Network logo or something on a Netflix project, but it's just the IP that they own, in my opinion. So Cartoon Brew says that this is Zaslav or Ted Sarandos. Okay. Sarandos says that he's all about pro-consumer, pro-innovation, pro-worker, pro-creator. Netflix CEOs, that's right, they're co-CEOs, insist Warner Brothers acquisition will benefit everyone. So they said on Friday, $83 billion, man. On Friday's investor call confirming the deal, executives insisted the merger would mean more opportunities for producers and storytellers, not fewer, in the kind of boardroom speech that only a well-trained executive can deliver. I'm telling you, that's horse shit. They can have the best of intentions, but I'm telling you, these corporations gobble each other up. They just want the best IP from that company, and that's it. This deal is pro-consumer, pro-innovation, pro-worker, and pro-creator. Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos said, calling Warner Brothers an incredible creative machine whose assets are more valuable in our business model, and our business model is more valuable with assets in it, which means the price of Netflix is going to go through the roof, by the way. I can almost guarantee it. Because now you don't have to pay for HBO Max too, right? I mean, are they going to roll that into? I have no idea. They're not really talking specifics yet. Just kind of like, it's going to be fine, everybody. According to Sarandos, Warner Brothers' century of development infrastructure fills Netflix's biggest creative gap. Their development pool has been building for 100 years. We've been in the original content business for a decade. Our deep development pool is quite shallow. That is actually true. Netflix cranks out a lot of content, but you probably could name their big hits on one hand. You got like Stranger Things, Squid Game, K-pop Demon Hunters, Bridgerton. So, you know what I'm saying? Like none of this other than Stranger Things and K-pop Demon Hunters really has like any, I guess, long-lasting effect on pop culture, but Warner Brothers stuff does, right? Access to Warner Brothers system and its vast library opens the door to new interpretations and expansions of established IP. Oh, no. Sarando cited Wednesday as an example of how Netflix can unlock dormant brands. Prior to Wednesday, the Addams Family probably didn't carry that much value. How very dare you? We have the ability to unlock storytelling and world building in ways that are even difficult to imagine today. Yes, they're talking, they think it's going to be a lot of AI. I don't know. I mean, that's where everything's kind of going now, right? Hollywood Reporter says Warner Brothers' hidden appeal to Netflix. AI supercharger. Training data and meme materials are elements of the Warner Brothers library that are elements the Warner Brothers library offers Netflix. So there we go, guys. That's what they're going to do. Let's see what else was he saying here. All right. He said that Netflix executives also stressed the deal will increase production activity, especially in the U.S. We're the largest producer of original content in California. It's not really saying much. Everybody's moving. But, whatever. Noting recent expansions in New Mexico and New Jersey, the execs on the call claimed that Netflix's current robust business will benefit Warner Brothers, which has been digging itself out of a hole for several years. Yeah, Netflix has deep pockets. This is a healthy, growing business that is going to help another business grow in a more healthy way. Translation, we're going to bankroll Warner Brothers because they can't take care of themselves like an adult child that never leaves home. Yes, Warner Brothers is 32 years old and has never held a full-time job. So mommy and daddy are going to bail them out. It says more jobs across the entire entertainment industry. According to co-CEO Greg Peters, I do not believe that for 1 minute, but that's what they're going to tell people to make them feel better, in my opinion. Peters argued that because of Netflix's distribution and discovery tools, creators at Warner Brothers will be able to share their work with far wider audiences. Their stories are going to reach more people. That's actually true. Like pretty much everybody has a Netflix subscription. So I think you have a better shot probably at getting seen on Netflix than on HBO Max. Right? Let's be honest. It's also worth noting that under Netflix, Warner Brothers Television will continue producing for outside buyers, something Netflix does not do. I said, yeah, they're successful at it. We want to keep that successful business operating. So there is speculation, though, that this is not going to go well for Cartoon Network. You go out to Blue Sky because you're not getting much Cartoon Network news or animation industry news on Twitter because all these people went over the Blue Sky. So this person here says, I don't have the energy to be enraged about one media company buying another. I just hope Netflix will put all their effort into getting the laugh track free versions of the Hanna-Barbera archive that were shown on Cartoon Network in the 90s. That'd be kind of cool. Cartoon Network News and Schedule says, we don't know what the splitting off of Cartoon Network and Adult Swim under Discovery Global will mean for the network's rights. Cartoon Network Studios, a sublabel for Warner Brothers Animation and not its own thing, is going to go with Warner Brothers Netflix. Yeah, that's the thing. Cartoon Network Studios is not even its own thing anymore. They're just part of Warner Animation. Warner Animation will probably get rolled into like Netflix Animation. You know what I'm saying? So there is probably going to be fewer stuff. This guy says Netflix is not getting Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, or any of the cable networks, except HBO. Those are being spun off into a separate corporation called Discovery Global. Looney Tunes is, and they'll probably be removed off of Tubi for now. As for the DCU, I told a friend they might keep James Gunn. They might keep James Gunn. James Gunn was apparently going to leave or get pushed out if Paramount bought Warner Brothers, but that looks like it's not going to happen unless this hostile takeover thing works. I don't know. It's just insane. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. But yeah, I mean, one good thing for animation fans is that we might get the entire Cartoon Network Hanna-Barbera library finally on streaming on Netflix. You might get a lot of older shows that HBO Max pulled. Ones that aren't even available on DVD. We might actually get them on Netflix. So there's that, I guess, to look forward to, because that is something that was promised with HBO Max and never materialized. They never did that. And it's weird because now we've got Sesame Street over on Netflix too. And Sesame Street was being bankrolled by Warner Brothers for a while. So it's a crazy world, man. I think at the end of it, we're just going to have like 2 or 3 entertainment companies and that's it. So I think now more than ever, it's kind of important that we make our own stuff, that we have more independence out there. But ultimately, if you're successful, all roads lead to Netflix, right? That's where it all goes. So I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We will talk later.